This video was produced by the State Historical Records Advisory Board with support from the National Historical Publications and Records Commission. For more information on the board and its activities, please visit the link in the description of this video. Archivists have terminology that is very specific to their work. In this module, we'll introduce some of the key terms that you may encounter when working in an archives or learning about archival work. The word archives can actually be used to refer to a number of different things. For instance, the State Archives is the official repository of our state's records of enduring value. But archives can also be used in reference to the records contained within the archives repository. These archival collections consist of records that were created or received by a person, family, or organization, and preserved because of their continuing or secondary value. These records were created, but now they have a second life in the archives, where researchers can use them in ways other than their original purpose. For instance, this document was filed by the Clerk of Court in New Hanover County when Emile Bentelli, an immigrant from Switzerland, wanted to become a citizen. But a researcher can use it for a number of purposes, such as genealogy. In archival collections, you'll find many different types of records. You may find diaries, correspondence, ledger books, photographs, audio recordings, video recordings, artifacts, and more. Many modern archival collections contain born digital records. These born digital records were created in a digital format and are now being preserved in a digital format. Examples include emails, spreadsheets, and digital photographs. Now that we've looked at definitions for the types of materials we're dealing with in the archives, let's look at some terms used to describe our processes or work. The first step in bringing collections into an archives is to appraise the records. The archivist will examine the materials and determine whether the informational value of the materials warrants the collection being added to the archives. Archival appraisal isn't related to financial value, and archivists do not provide a monetary appraisal. If the materials are a good fit for the archivist's collection, they will be accessioned into the collection. This process includes transferring physical and legal custody of the items to the archives, often through a deed of gift for donations. A deed of gift shows an understanding between donors and institutions and outlines any restrictions on the materials. After accessioning, the next step is to process the materials. Processing is a broad term that includes all the steps of preparing materials for use. One step in processing is the arrangement of materials, or more simply, organization. Maintaining information about the context of the record's creation is important in archival work. Who created these materials? What was happening when the materials came to be? And how did these materials relate to other records in the archives? Provenance is a fundamental principle of archival work that helps preserve context. The principle of provenance holds that records of different origins be maintained as distinct units in order to make the origin of the records clear. We want to make it clear which records belonged to which creator. Maintaining the original order of collections, keeping them as they were grouped or ordered by their creator, is also an important archival principle. By maintaining original order, archivists and researchers can discern information about how records were created, used, and stored before coming to the archives. After the materials are arranged, their description is key to allowing others to find them. Archivists typically create a finding aid for each archival collection. The finding aid contains information about the collection's contents, about its context of creation, about how it's arranged, and how it can be used. The finding aid is a researcher's guide to the archival collection. During processing, archivists may also perform basic preservation steps, such as removing rubber bands, sleeving pictures, or photocopying acidic newspapers. Preservation refers to preventative measures taken to avoid damage and preserve the life of the materials. All of this work is done with one goal in mind: access. Archivists want the archival collections in their care to be used by researchers, now and in the future. Researchers can access archival collections in a designated space in the archives facility. But today, more archival collections have been digitized. Digitized materials include paper-based or audiovisual records that have been photographed, scanned, or otherwise transformed into a digital copy that can be made available to researchers at the archival facility and beyond. Digitized materials do not replace the original records, but they allow archivists to provide broader access to their archival collections. The Society of American Archivists Dictionary of Archival Terminology provides additional information on these terms and more. And the tutorial videos in this series will explain these terms and processes in much greater depth. Hopefully, this video helped build a solid foundation for some of the most common archival terminology. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to check the other videos in this series.